Century Plyboards is betting on GST and a general shift to the formal economy, as are the other plywood companies. This company is projected at 25% growth in the top line. What could play spoilsport is pricing pressure as new players enter the market. Joining us now to talk about this is Sanjay Agarwal. He's the MD and CEO at Century Plyboard. Joins us right now on the show. Mr. Agarwal, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. Now,
good morning.
There's a brokerage note which mentions that Action Group has initiated some price cuts as a result of which almost all key MDF players are also feeling the heat. Can you tell us what's happened in the last couple of months, and is there some pressure on the pricing front as a result of this action?
Yeah. You see, we came into production sometime in October last year, and in spite of a heavy capacity coming into a small market, still there were no price cuts till March. From April, yes, there has been some price cuts because the markets are not behaving so well, and a new capacity from Action has further come into the system. So it's not the Action who cut the price, it's the Green who actually initiated the price cut. Yes, there is a pressure of price in the market. We have reduced, everybody I think has reduced after that 3 to 5% prices since April until now. But I think that the sales have been still good, except the last month because of all these truck strikes and all that, there has been a problem. But we already see this month, after the truck strike, the lifting is very good. The demand, the orders we are getting are excellent. So I don't think that there is a big issue, but yes, we expect price cut in the south of India because another plant from Green is going to come into production, or has actually come into production, and trials are over, and I think they are coming into commercial production also very soon. So we expect some price cut in the south of India. So that's okay, that is already expected because south of India mostly imports its material from other countries, and I expect that they will have to reduce prices in South India so that they can stop the imports or reduce the imports. And because they will reduce the imports, the consumption from us, all of us, will really increase in this country. So that is a good for the industry in times to come. So I don't see any major issues. Yes, the prices will have to go down, and I don't see any relief. At least the capacity which has been created should take about a year or maybe 15 months, 16 months to really consume, and we reach a time by next year end when we again see that the capacity consumed will be probably totally consumed in the market, and then we will see again some price rise. Because we don't have any other plant coming up immediately. There have been discussions with the...
Mr. Agarwal, by we you mean the industry, or by we you mean Century Plyboards? And the reason I'm asking this question again is that the note that I was referring to speaks about maybe not the rest of the country, but North India seeing some substantial excessive capacity, MDF supply at least, for the next 3 years.
Absolutely. Not 3 years actually. You see, the total capacity increase is basically mainly everything else has been consumed. It's about the 1,000 cubic meter plant which Green is coming up in South India, which will not supply to rest of the country, but which will supply mostly in the south of India. So we expect a lot of, this MDF ultimately cannot be supplied into from one part of the country to another part of the country. Right now we can afford that transportation cost because there is not much of manufacturing, and we are actually realizing good prices. But in times to come, Northern India will become Northern India, Western India will become Western India, and we will have plants across the country. Okay. So yes, presently there is an excess of capacity, which I expect by end of 2019 or beginning of 2020. I expect, because the growth in the industry is also about 20% as far as MDF is concerned. So I don't think there is a big issue. Yes, for next 1 year there is a pricing challenge which we are ready to meet, and we are meeting. Otherwise, you see today, even till the month of July, we have sold more than 10,000 cubic meter. We just came into production. This month again, in the month of August, we expect more than 10,000, 11,000 cubic meters from my factory, or maybe 12,000 also. So yes, last month because of the trucker strike, there was a problem. We could not dispatch. We had so much of order. I have got more than about 150 trucks pending in my factory, but I could not dispatch.
Oops. Okay. Hopefully that won't be something that will get repeated, Mr. Agarwal. But just one small question though. So you differ from the belief that maybe certain players on the analyst community have, that North India will have additional capacity. You just referring to that one plant from Green in South India. You do not believe North India will have excess capacity of MDF?
No, in North India also, because of the Exxon's latest plant, there is some excess capacity.
But it's not to the tune of 30-40%.
It's about, say, 600 is our, it's about 25-30%, yes. But then that really you have to understand that 20% consumption is also increasing.
Okay.
Otherwise, my sales will absolutely go down.
Sure.
I will be in trouble. But I am not in trouble at all.
Okay, I get your point. Now let's talk about you as a company too. If I look at the last 4 or 5 quarters, Mr. Agarwal, sales have been circa this 500 odd number. I mean, maybe Q1 FY18 they were about 440 crores. Then you nudged that 510 crore mark. You're currently stable at about 530, 540 for the last couple of quarters. But you have a new capacity that has come on stream. Over the next 6 to 9 to 12 odd months, would the base run rate for Century Ply as a company move higher from where it is right now on a quarterly basis?
You are talking of MDF only?
MDF or otherwise. I mean, the overall revenues for you as a company, all put together.
You see, as far as MDF is concerned, we are very clear that we are presently utilizing about 65-66% of the capacity. We will certainly cross 75%. We are, of course, trying our best for 80%, but yes, 75%, 76% we are very sure we will be able to surpass. As far as plywood is concerned, the Q1 figures, if you have seen, are actually very, very good. And even in plywood, we have an excellent growth, which was not there in last maybe 2-3 years. So the first Q1 is showing a very good trend. In spite of the truckers strike in the month of July, we have a good growth. So, and the laminate division also, you see there is a good growth. We have grown, I think, 16 or 17% as far as the volumes are concerned. There is a problem with the profitability of the decorative division a little bit. That is because the petroleum prices have gone up and we have passed on the costs very recently. So those results we will see in Q2 and Q3. But otherwise, as far as the growth is concerned, this year Century Plywood will be growing more than 24-23% overall, including everything, because the most will come from MDF, of course, because last year MDF turnover was maybe 140-150 crore, and this year we are expecting about 320-340 crores at least. So the most growth will come from MDF, but otherwise overall this particle board division is also growing very well. We were unable to actually sell the total production we have, but now for last about 3 months we are selling more than what we can produce. So we have practically cleared all our backlog stock in our factory and we see a good future now.
Okay, that's interesting. Mr. Agarwal, one question then as to what happens to realizations and margins. You mentioned that there have been price cuts that have been taken because of action, if I can use that term, and the excess capacity that has come in from Green as well. Does this impact blended margins by and large for you as a company for the rest of the year?
Yes. As far as MDF margins are concerned, the EBITDA is down, and I don't expect MDF EBITDA to really go up. But EBITDA in plywood division has gone up from 13.5% to about 16% in Q1. So I expect some compensation from plywood and MDF, plywood and laminate division. But MDF margins cannot go up because for next about a year, I see there will not be any price increase. There may be some price cut as far as South India is concerned. So that will actually put a pressure on us from North India, who probably will have to reduce dispatches to South India and consume more into Northern India only. And once we try to consume more into Northern India, again 2-3% price cut in even North India may come. So yes, there will be little price pressure, profitability pressure, but plywoods and laminates should be able to cover up.
That is for FY19. My last question really is about what the industry or the street expected plywood companies or plywood stroke MDF stroke laminate companies to do post the advent of GST and the move from unorganized to organized, which is clock sustained 20-25% growth for 4, 5, 6 years. Would FY19 be the start of such a trend? You've guided to about 25% for FY19. Do you believe the industry has the strength to reenact that growth for the next 3 or 4 years as well?
See, we have been talking this for last now about, because street is always, advance. It always talks maybe a year or two in advance from we industry people do. So we have been talking this for years. So now is the time to really show it actually on the papers and actually in the markets. So what I see in this company today, that everything else, or even in the markets for every company in plywood who are into branded segment, I already see a shift. But India being India, you see, right now they have just started the e-way bill. But still people, the unbranded segment or the informal segment is still trying to bill without bills, or maybe at a very low value billings and all that are going on. And the government is actually already trying to now plug those loopholes through the data. You must be reading in newspapers and everywhere, and even in your channel, that they are trying to plug the loopholes. So what I believe that it will take another year before we really get a big push, but that has to come. Nobody can stop, because the difference between us and them used to be 50%. Only because of taxation, which will now probably, even if they do some adjustment, the difference will come down to 10% or 8% or 5% because of taxation. The quality difference can be another 10%. If we sell within 15% or 20% of their prices, nobody can stop absolute growth. And you also have to look at the total market is maybe 20,000 or 22,000 crores. Out of that, Century Plywood sells plywood of maybe 1,200 crores. What is the percentage? 6%.
True.
So gaining a 2% market share will be very, very easy for us. And a 2% or a 1.5% is 25% growth.